And you're very welcome to Parnell Park here in Donnycarney with me, Marcus O'Buchla, on Dubs TV for the first game of 4 quarter-finals in the Dublin Senior Hurling Championship, obviously the A Championship. And first up this afternoon is Craobh Chiarain. You could call them the home team with their clubhouse just behind us there in the distance against Lucan. Followed later on Ballybowden, St. Denda's take on St. Vincent's at 4:45, and then tomorrow it's Na Fianna against St. Bridget's at 3 o'clock again. And finally, the last game in the quarterfinals this weekend, Coola taking on Kilmacud Crokes. Well, as we see below us there, Lucan Sarsfields in a huddle, and away to our right, Craobh Chiarain as well. Last words of encouragement to the team from their mentors. And in the middle then we have the referee for this afternoon, Tony Lamb, ready to go and ready to throw the schlitter in. What an afternoon we have here in Donnycarney. A slight breeze from right to left in this first half, but otherwise absolutely stunning afternoon for hurling. The pitch in fabulous condition as you'd expect. And looking forward to a great 4 games in the Dublin Senior Hurling Championship. Tony Lamb now, the referee, just waiting on the schlitter. And just waiting to throw that same schlitter in. We do have a late change by the looks of things on the Craobh Chiarain team, with number 25, Francis Usanga, in, and looks like he'll be playing at centre half forward. Chris Cummy tasked with keeping an eye on Usanga and looking elsewhere, trying to see if there's any further changes, and it doesn't look like there is. And I'll try to figure out who has been left out from that Craobh Chiarain starting 15 as well. And I think Tony Lamb, the referee, is still waiting on a schlitter. There was plenty of them around in the warm-up, but of course as soon as we're about to throw in, there's nothing to be found. Another change on the Craobh Chiarain team. I see Gary Kelly with number 26 on his back. So 2 late changes for Craobh Chiarain, and here we have Usanga straight away, has the schlitter, tries to put that in on the edge of the square, which he manages to do so, but that's pretty comfortable there for Matt McCaffrey, the Lucan fullback. Great work here, superb. There's an early goal chance for Craobh Chiarain, and that's buried in the back of the net from the full forward, Kieran McGowran. And that's a perfect start for Ger Ryan's Craobh Chiarain team. What a start for Craobh Chiarain. It's exactly the start they would have wanted. Fullback. Great work here. Superb. There's an early goal chance for Craobh Chiarain, and that's buried in the back of the net. The Lucan goal had no chance. Great start for Craobh Chiarain. And a great start there for forward Kieran McGowran. Only a minute gone in Parnell Park. And as I said, it's the perfect start. What answer will Lucan have to that early start? Great start from Craobh Chiarain as Derek O'Reilly gets that, and again we see that early tactic of letting that schlitter in good and early into McGowran. Here is McGowran again. He wasn't too happy with the manhandling from Matt McCaffrey, the Lucan fullback, but on we go, and that's a great catch in the air there. And that's a score and a great answer there from Paul Crummy, the Lucan Sarsfields left corner forward. And that's a great answer from Sean McCaffrey's team. And after a minute and 50 seconds or thereabouts, that gap narrowed down to 2 points. Massive puck out there, and here we have another goal. What a puck out from Stephen Chester, in on top of Billy Ryan. Billy Ryan caught it, turned, bang. Second goal, 2 minutes gone. What a start from Craobh Chiarain. And the schlitter has gone over the end line there on the far side, but again, what a start. 2 goals. I was saying that is clearly It's clearly the option that they're looking to take, to let the ball in good and early. And then to see what kind of damage McGowran and Billy Ryan can do inside. Well, we've seen now 2 balls in, 2 goals. Great return from the Craobh full forward line. A miscue there from John McCaffrey. Usanga has that, he looks up, he goes himself. There's 2 after him. Usanga, a little slip, a little shimmy, and that's a lovely score from Francis Usanga. Late change for the Craobh Chiarain team, and a 3rd score for Craobh Chiarain, and what a start from the Donnycarney base club. 2-1 scored after 3 minutes. And here comes Lucan again. Here's a chance for Chris Cummey. He got a goal in the second round against Setanta, and he's got a goal here. What a brilliant start to this game. 3 minutes gone, 3 goals scored, and that's the first one scored by Lucan Sarsfields. And we've seen already the distance that Stephen Chester can put on these puckouts for Craobh Chiarain, and he may try to do that again. Chester, another massive one. This time he's going towards the left corner. McGowran catches that. He looks up, finds Billy Ryan. Billy Ryan has another look up at the post, and that is accurate. It's efficient play from Craobh Chiarain. They've had 4 attacks, they've got 4 scores, 2-2, and another score for Billy Ryan. Cut out there by Damien O'Reilly for Craobh Chiarain. As we look at that effort there from Ben Coffey. Stephen Chester does well though, in goal for Craobh Chiarain. Good work there from John Bellew. From Sean McClelland. Donald Flannery. Flannery looks up. Flannery with the effort. Well, that's a wide from Flannery there, and that's the first wide of the afternoon. And that one after 5 minutes is to Lucan Sarsfields. But what a start, what a game we've had so far. 2-2 to Craobh Chiarain. Early goal from full forward Kieran McGowran. A second goal then moments later from Billy Ryan. And here we have Billy Ryan again. He's trying to lift that one. Foul. Tony Lamb, the referee, I thought had blown his whistle. He's perhaps playing advantage here. No, he's not. On we go. And Lucan will have a chance to Robert Ward to clear that one. Lovely pass from Ward. Does well to spot Ronan Smith. Smith now tries to put that into the space in front of Paul Crummy. Well done by Eugene Farrell. Bats that one away. Alan McCrabb, former Dublin star, with a long one into McGowran. McGowran breaks it, but instead it's the Lucan fullback Matt McCaffrey, but he can only get that away as far as Francis Usanga. And Francis Usanga has his 2nd point of the afternoon. 2-3 to Craobh Chiarain. Well, it's been breathless stuff in Parnell Park. On we go again. John McCaffrey. What can they do? Chester in goals for Craobh Chiarain. Gets that. Releases another long one in on top of McGowran. That one breaks off the hurl of Matt McCaffrey, the Lucan fullback. And we'll have a chance maybe as we're waiting for this 65 to see just some of that action from earlier. Again, it's just been so accurate. We've only had the one wide for Lucan Sarsfields, but otherwise everything that's been hit has found the target as we watch Cian Derwin lift, strike, and that's a beautiful, well, it's hit the upright. John Bellew has done well to read that, and he tries to get that one away to John McCaffrey. Lovely stick work there to find Robert Ward. Robert Ward puts that one across the pitch. Smith tried to bat it down to himself, didn't manage to do so. Instead it's Kieran Dowling. He only got a goal in the second round of the championship against Setanta, and he's got acres of room here, has Dowling to run into. Dowling is making his way in towards goal. Dowling fires it across, but that's been brilliantly blocked by Eugene Farrell, the fullback who came across. He left Donald Flannery, but the right option to close that space and to make it as difficult as possible for Chiarain Dowling. We'll have a 65, but that was really good from the Craobh Chiarain fullback Eugene Farrell. 65 so for Lucan Sarsfields. Eight minutes gone here in Parnell Park. Craobh Chiarain 2-3. Lucan Sarsfields 1-1. And Craobh Chiarain, who finished first in their group, taking on Lucan, who finished second in their group. They were in Group 4. Craobh Chiarain in Group 3. And that one has been struck, but that has been struck wide. Again, a second wide of the afternoon to Lucan. That one hit by Ben Coffey. I'll be disappointed with that one. Chester again with the wind at his back. Fires that one, lands nearly on top of the Lucan Sarsfield 21. Cian Derwin, unlucky there. Schlitter gone out across the sideline, whistle blown by referee Tony Lamb. Craobh Chiarain, as I mentioned, finished top of Group 3. Haven't won the Dublin Senior Championship since 2006. They'd love to take a step closer today. They've certainly had a great start. 2-3 scored after only 9 minutes. Well mopped up there by Oisin O'Brien for Craobh Chiarain. Gives that one, Gary Kelly, but that one has gone wide. Gary Kelly there, Craobh Chiarain did well to mop it up, but ultimately to the right and wide. Cian Derwin picks out Derek O'Reilly. O'Reilly again putting that one in on top of the D, looking for McGowran and Billy Ryan, but no luck this time. John McCaffrey. Long one into the corner. Derek O'Reilly. And great pressure there from Donald Flannery, who scored 2 goals in the last game of the group stages for Lucan against Whitehall Cullen-Kills. An early one, and then a late one to put proper distance between themselves and Whitehall. Game that finished 220 to 115. We've seen very little from Tony Lamb, as the medical and staff and the physios from Craobh Chiarain take a quick look at James Finn. He has the helmet off, and but it looks like he'll be okay. Sup of water, up he gets again. And it looks like Tony Lamb is happy to let proceedings go on again. Ben Coffey so for Lucan Sarsfields. 2 inside, in around the square. There's 4 from Craobh Chiarain there, but he's gone straight for it himself. Great work from Stephen Chester. Some of the Lucan players protesting that had gone over the bar. We've no Hawkeye here today, so we'll just have to go with the great piece of goalkeeping from Stephen Chester for Craobh Chiarain. And from that piece of excellent goalkeeping, they go up the other end. And it's another lovely score there for Craobh Chiarain, and that one scored by Paul Kelly. 11 minutes gone in Parnell Park. 2-4 to Craobh Chiarain, 1-1 to Lucan Sarsfields. It's Craobh Chiarain on the attack again. Foul perhaps on Cian Derwin. On we go, says the referee Tony Lamb. Damien O'Reilly. Craobh Chiarain fails to gather that one. Instead it's Paul Crummy. Again comes under pressure. And Craobh can come again, and the whistle will surely come here. 2 fouls against Craobh Chiarain. Referee Tony Lamb has any amount of options here, but I think he's going to go with the earlier foul again, in the early moments of this game, 12 minutes gone here in Parnell Park. Whenever Lucan get an opportunity, just Craobh Chiarain are swarming all around them. And again, let's have an opportunity. Alive to the danger. And 2 points from Francis Usanga early in this game. Another break and play here. I think it's Kieran McGowran, the Craobh Chiarain full forward, that's down with an injury. When he does eventually get up, it will still be a free to Craobh Chiarain. Coming up to the midway point in this first half, in the first of 4 Dublin Senior Hurling Championship quarter-finals, Craobh Chiarain and Lucan. At the moment, we've got Ballyboden, St Enda's and St Vincent's later on today. Don't forget, at 4:45, Will Dowling will be your commentator for that game. And then tomorrow, it's Nafiana against Bridget's at 3 o'clock and Coola against Kilmacud Crokes at 4:45. Cian Derwin. Let's fly, and Cian has it from well inside his own half. Super strike. And after 14 minutes, Cian Derwin has extended that lead even further. 2-5 now. And interestingly, the first score from a free to Craobh Chiarain. 2-4 up till now, all from play. Cian Derwin again with a second opportunity. Derwin strikes it, and again, no doubt about that, the umpires both with their hands in the air. And 2 points in as many minutes from Cian Derwin. Bit of space here now. Sean McClelland, let's go. But again, just Lucan, anytime they get into the Craobh Chiarain half of the pitch, they just can't seem to capitalise on any bit of space. Credit to the Craobh Chiarain backs and their midfielders. They're working fierce hard to close down the space, but again, those scores have come far too easy to Craobh Chiarain, and Lucan having to work so hard for them. Here's the ball into space in front of Crummy, but look at that, Eugene Farrell coming across the fullback. Hand pass to Conor Ryan, and Conor Ryan lets fly in on top of Billy Ryan. He already has 1-1. That'll break to him. Across comes Philip Smith from Lucan. Still there. And in the end, they managed to come out. And in the end, John McCaffrey will assess his options. He looks up. Nice little pass into space beneath us here. Kieran Dowling. One inside there, but again, the numbers just didn't stack up there. You had 3 from Lucan, you had 4 from Craobh Chiarain. And in the end, they still managed to find Conor Ryan all alone on the right touchline. James Finn, injured a short while ago, but he's up again. Finn. Eugene Farrell, full back, finds Derwin. Lovely interplay here from Craobh Chiarain as we watch Conor Ryan let fly. But that one has gone to the right and wide. Taken quickly by Killian Murray, the Lucan goalkeeper. Here's a chance here for Dowling. But Dowling lets fly and puts that to the left and wide. 3 wides in the first half to Lucan, 2 for Craobh Chiarain. But really it's been about the accuracy of Craobh Chiarain in this first 17 minutes. 2-6. First run from Kieran McGowran after only seconds really in that first half. Another goal from Billy Ryan then moments later. And then it's been point thereafter. 2 from Francis Usanga, 1 from Paul Kelly, 2 from Cian Derwin, and another one from Billy Ryan. Paul Crummy with the point for Lucan and a goal from Chris Crummy. But so far it's been all about the Donny Carney men. And they've taken control in this first Dublin Senior Hurling Championship A quarter-final. Craobh Chiarain have had a very impressive campaign today. They topped Group 3, beat Naofimbar in the first round, St. Vincent's in the second round, and finished off that with a very impressive win only a couple of weeks ago. Killian Murray there, the Lucan goalkeeper, did well with that effort from Usanga. Great battle there between Kevin Heatherton and Chris Crummy, and in the end Chris Crummy wins that one. But not without some effort and some pain. He's down and he's injured here. But as I said, Craobh Chiarain have had a very impressive campaign to date. Lucan, for their part, lost their first round match against Ballybowden, but only by a point. And they were comprehensive winners over Setanta in the second round. We had our summer break obviously then, and 2 weeks ago they were back for that win over Whitehall Cullenkills 220 to 115, which meant they finished behind Ballybowden, but second in Group 4 was enough for qualification to this quarter-final. Chris Crummy still down for Lucan. Again, such an important player for them. Really couldn't afford to be without Chris. 8 points between the teams as we approach the 20-minute mark. And again, Craobh Chiarain dominant in most facets of the game. Looks like it's the right shoulder that's impacting Chris. Again, Lucan haven't scored in 17 minutes. That last score that they got was a goal from Chris Crummy. Always a threat, 6 on his back, but not afraid to move forward and impose himself on the game. And Lucan will certainly hope, and Sean McCaffrey will certainly hope, the manager of Lucan Sarsfields will certainly hope that Chris is able to continue. Doesn't look too comfortable, but on we go. Now another chance here for Lucan. As I said, no score in 17 minutes. 1-1 scored within the first couple of minutes of the first half, and that one was brilliantly struck by Ben Coffey. And they definitely needed that one, and straight away on we get. On we go. Stephen Chester, the Craobh Chiarain goalkeeper, tried to pick out Kieran McGowran. And he's not too happy with Kieran that he didn't manage to get that one. Really good play there from John McCaffrey, managing to find Paul Rigney, his cornerback. Sean McClelland looks towards Coffey. Coffey goes up. Does really well to gather that in the second attempt, but look at that for pressure. Brilliant from Daniel Cullen and Alan McCrabb. And the Lucan supporters aren't too happy with that decision to allow play go on, as that ball is fired into the corner. Billy Ryan should get there, and he does. Really good work from John Bellew though. Ronan Smith now. But again, look at that, 3 Craobh Chiarain players all waiting. In the end it was Gary Kelly, but that's been cut out. A little bit sloppy from Kelly, having done so well to get in front and to cut that one out. Sean Finnegan, right cornerback for Craobh Chiarain. A wild pull there, but gets away with it. There's McCrabb. Here comes Conor Ryan. Conor Ryan finds Gary Kelly, and Gary Kelly lets one fly in on top of McGowran, and he breaks that, but we were playing advantage. And I think it's fair to say that the Lucan Sarsfields players and supporters aren't too happy with some of the decisions from Tony Lamb, the referee, over the last while. And one of the linesmen is actually now coming in to talk to Tony. And when things do calm down, it will be a free to Craobh Chiarain. A free that Cian Derwin will take. Still a bit of messing below us here. Chris Crummey's involved. There's a few others involved from Craobh Chiarain as well. The linesman's keeping a close eye on them as Cian Derwin fires another one between the posts. That's 3 frees in a row from Cian Derwin. And again, every time the Craobh or Lucan do something positively, Craobh Chiarain have an answer. Ben Coffey with the free kick from Lucan only a minute or so ago, and then straight away Cian Derwin is able to cancel that one out. Now, as I mentioned, there was a bit of messing going on below us here, and Tony Lamb, our referee this afternoon, has gone in to talk to his umpires, and the linesman has come over as well, and they're still at it. Chris Crummey in the thick of it, and well, nobody's backing down here, and I'd imagine that Tony Lamb is going to talk to somebody. It's Chris Crummey and Kevin Heatherton that he's called over. And maybe just a quiet word. And Tony seems happy enough with that quiet word, and on we go. Puck out to Lucan Sarsfields, so Killian Murray, Lucan goalkeeper. Really good work there from Ciaran Dowling. Gary Kelly trying to stop him. Dowling still has it. Sean Finnegan chasing after him now as well from Craobh Chiarain. Oh, lovely little pass there. That's done well inside to Flannery. Flannery tries to let it go, but again, 2 from Craobh Chiarain stopping him, and McCrabb in the end let that one go, finding Heatherton, and Heatherton clears the danger. And again, not enough to clear the danger. Finds McGowran. An unorthodox enough pass there from McGowran. And a bit lazy with his stick work there to try to stop John Bellew, the Lucan Sarsfield left half back, coming out with that Schlitter, but Alan McCrabb back there doing a great job sweeping in front of the Craobh Chiarain full back line. Lucan playing better the last few minutes, but just can't find a way through the Craobh Chiarain rear guard. Effort there from Donald Flannery, and another one goes a begging. That's 4 wides now for Lucan Sarsfields in the first half here in Parnell Park. Again, the first of 4 quarter-finals in the Dublin Senior Hurling Championship. Our second quarter-final today, Ballyboden St Enda's, last year's champions, taking on St Vincent's at 4:45. And then tomorrow we're back again. Na Fianna against St Bridget's at 3 o'clock, with Coola taking on Kilmacud Crokes at 4:45. What a story Coola had a couple of years ago, winning the championship in 2015, 16 and 17. Lovely pass outside there from Paul Kelly as we watch Billy Ryan. Lovely score from Billy Ryan. That's 1-2 from Billy Ryan in this first half. Really impressive opening 26 minutes or so from the corner forward. Gary Kelly did well to let that one fall and not get pulled up for overcarrying. Daniel Cullen, the left corner back for Craobh Chiarain, letting that one go, but cut out there by Paul Rigney for Lucan. Late hit on Paul Rigney, but on we go, says the ref. Ciaran Dowling, I think he was going for a score there, but in the end it was neither a score nor a pass. And Gary Kelly should be able to pick this one out, and he does. John Bellew doing really well again for Lucan that time. That's a super fetch in the air. Here comes Crummey. Crummey fouled surely, and that's a penalty. Paul Crummey. Again, you could see 2 Lucan men inside, but there was 3 Craobh Chiarain men with them. And to his immense credit, Paul Crummey with a super leap, a super take. But no question, the right decision from Look at it again. And it's gone, but it looks like one of the Craobh players is down and injured. Tony Lamb just going in to checking him there. But really good work from Paul Crummy, as I mentioned. 2 minutes to go to half-time here in Parnell Park. 9 points between them. You'd have to say that they need this goal. Sean McCaffrey's men, Lucan Sarsfields, need this score. It's going to be Chris Crummy. He has a goal from open play already this afternoon. Scored that after 3 minutes. 90 seconds to go in this first half, plus whatever Tony Lamb adds on. You'd imagine Chris Crummy has to get this goal. Crummy against Stephen Chester, the Craobh Chiarain goalkeeper. Chester on his line. Chester, Crummy fires it! Oh, lovely hit, lovely strike. Chester with no chance. Exactly what Chris Crummy wanted before half-time, and we'll see it here again. Dowling. Pass that one back to Crummy. He's got 2 goals in this first half. He might get 2-1. He has got 2-1. That's a really strong finish to the first half from Lucan Sarsfields. They've scored 1-2 in the last 9 minutes. And that just kind of narrows the gap that little bit more before half-time. 5 points now between them. Billy Ryan breaks that. Here comes Usanga. Usanga makes it on goal. And just as I was talking about, a great finish to the first half by Lucan Sarsfields. Francis Usanga. He had 2 points earlier. He now has 1-2. Ben Coffey. Dowling, Ciarain Dowling. Let's fly, but that one has gone wide for the 5th wide of the game to Lucan Sarsfields. And I think Conor Ryan is down and injured. Release that ball in on top of the square, and if you've got the likes of McGowran, Billy Ryan and Francis Usanga in on top of it, they've just, anytime they face down Killian Murray in the Lucan Sarsfields goal, they've been brilliant. 3-8 in 31 minutes or so of superb hurling from Chiarain's team in this first half. As I mentioned earlier, they haven't won the Dublin Senior Hurling Championship since 2006. But it's a great first half from the Donnycarney club. Stephen Chester, another massive one that'll land in and around the 21, in on top of McGowran. Sean McClelland does well to pick out John McCaffrey. McCaffrey again. Nice interplay. Here's Rigney, Paul Rigney. Up went Paul Crummy. But again, 3 Craobh Chiarain players back there to cut it out. And one of those was Gary Kelly, who found Billy Ryan, who released that one. That was superb. But it was all about the reading by Gary Kelly, who picked out Billy Ryan. And Ryan did the rest, as he has done on numerous occasions in this first half. Time and time again, Billy Ryan has been the go-to man for Craobh Chiarain, and he was there again. Ball into space, into the full forward line, into Flannery. Flannery making his way on top of goal. And on we go. Referee happy to let play continue again. Gary Kelly had all the time in the world, but in the end Dowling made sure he didn't. But great work from Gary Kelly, the Craobh Chiarain number 26, to put that block on Ciaran Dowling. Nice sidestep from McCaffrey. John McCaffrey looks up, measures that one. It was accurate, but it wasn't strong enough. Kieran McGowran, Craobh Chiarain full forward. Doesn't gather that one. Instead, it's Lucan who'll come out with that. Through Philip Smith, who passes it to the far side. Derek O'Reilly to McCrabb. Lovely pass. And oozes class. Does Alan McCrabb. Philip Smith will win that one in front of McGowran. McGowran fouls Philip Smith. I think it's fair to say that Kieran McGowran mightn't be the most mobile of full forwards, but if he's in and around the square, any ball that's come in on top of him, he's been effective, he's broken it, he's caused any amounts of trouble in there. But anything out to the corners, you're really hoping that James Finn or Billy Ryan will be in and around it. Once again, Tony Lamb talking to the umpire on the far side. But on we get. Sean McClelland with the free for Lucan. 34 minutes now played here in Parnell Park. A couple of injuries early on. And on we go. Space here for Ciaran Dowling. Gary Kelly in front of him. Nice little sidestep from Dowling. In the end, that one stayed out to the right and wide, but it's been given. And from where we were, that was a wide, but the umpires gave it. But to be fair, I think the linesman is coming in here now to talk to the referee, and he has rightly given a wide. And the half-time whistle has blown. And, well, what can you say? What a 30 minutes. It was 35 minutes in the end from Craobh Chiarain. But there was some superb passages of play, some superb scores. Kieran McGowran with the goal early on after only 10-15 seconds or so. Billy Ryan with a second. And Francis Usanga with their third goal on 30 minutes. It's been brilliant from Chiarain's men in this first half. And it leaves Craobh Chiarain ahead at the break with 3-9 on the scoreboard. Lucan Sarsfields have 2-3, and we'll be back after this break. Really are the difference after a first half here in which we saw some cracking scores from Craobh Chiarain. And again, that 3-9, I beg your pardon. Billy Ryan with 1-3, Francis Usanga with 1-2. And equally impressive from some of those frees was Cian Derwin with 3 points from the place balls. Lucan Sarsfields, for them, well, what can you say about Chris Crummy? He's done everything as the centre half back. He's been impressive when called upon as part of that rear guard, but he's also got 2-1 for Lucan Sarsfields. But really, they haven't been able to get enough out of the 6 forwards that they have. Paul Crummy got a point early in the game, and after that it was a free from Ben Coffey after 21 minutes. But otherwise, when you're relying on your centre half back to get the majority of your scores, it generally doesn't end up too well for you. So Craobh Chiarain with 3-9 in that first half. Lucan Sarsfields with 2-3. 9 points between them then at the break. As we wait for Craobh Chiarain to come out. Tony Lamb, our referee this afternoon, by the way. Tony Lamb from St. Vincent's. And Lucan Sarsfields ready to go. Craobh Chiarain are out for the second half now as well, as I look down to see if there are any changes at half time. Start of the second half, it looks like John McCaffrey and Robert Ward are in midfield for Lucan. Joining them from Craobh Chiarain, we'll see momentarily. And it looks like it'll be the same old two from the first half. Conor Ryan and Alan McCrabb. And one thing to note for this second half is that Lucan will have that breeze at their backs. We saw some of the puck outs from Craobh Chiarain. Goalkeeper Stephen Chester literally landing in on top of his full forward line, who were in on top of the 21. So we'll see how we go in this second half as Tony Lamb asks the midfield quartet to move back. And having had a Schlitter in his hand, he let it go and now he's lost it again. There we go. Ready to go. Schlitter thrown in. And in the end, really good work from Chris Crummy. Lucan centre half back with 2-1 to his name. After an impressive showing in that first half. Sean Finnegan, the Craobh Chiarain right corner back, does well. McCrabb tries to flick that one on. Again, you see straight away the start of the second half, using that breeze, and straight away we have a score at the start of the second half, and it's a really nice one too from Paul Crummy, as he did in the first half. Early point, early score, and again, same tactics in this second half so far from Lucan as Craobh Chiarain had in that first half, with that breeze at their backs. Let it in, edge of the square, and let's see how we go. Margin down to 8. John McClellan doing really well to cut that one out to McCaffrey. John McCaffrey into the space. Foul there surely on Paul Crummy. And you'd imagine that this should be another opportunity to Ben Coffey. And another opportunity to close that gap even further. Good start to the second half from Lucan. Indeed it will be Ben Coffey. 1 point from 2 attempts in the first half for Ben. 6 wides in total for Lucan in that first half. Only 2 wides in the first half for Craobh. Ben lifts, he strikes, and no mistake as he drives that towards Donnycarney Church. Hopefully it hasn't quite reached Donnycarney Church. But 2-5 now on the scoreboard for Lucan. And a nice start to the second half for them. Again, much better as McClellan lets that one go. It'll break inside, it'll break towards Kieran Dowling. Dowling rides the tackle, Dowling looks up. That's a poor effort from Dowling. There wasn't too many options inside him, but there were options outside him. And he just chose not to take them. Good work from John Bellew. Gives a nice hand pass to Paul Crummy. And that one looked like it might have snuck in inside the left hand post, but ref has waved wide, as had his umpires. Thought that might have snuck in myself, but anyway, on we go. Again, more positive play from Lucan at the start of this second half. They trailed by 9 at half time. They've got that gap down to 7. Don't forget, we've got a really busy afternoon, really busy weekend on Dubs TV for you. Later on this afternoon at 4:45, Ballyboden St. Enda's take on St. Vincent's. Will Dowling will be your commentator for that game, so don't go anywhere after this one. And then tomorrow, we've got double header again. The Fianna against St. Bridget's at 3 o'clock, and Coola against Kilmacud Crokes at 4:45. And of course, if you can't make it to Parnell Park, great to have you on Dubs TV. Again, Ben Coffey assesses his options. He's midway between the 45 and the 65 in his own half of the pitch. We saw Cian Derwin land a score for Craobh Chiarain in the first half from similar distance, but this one's going to break inside. And Kelly did really well to bat that one away for Craobh Chiarain, but only as far as Robert Warden. He did it again, did Kelly. Great block. And in the end, it's well, that's a difficult angle from Ciaran Dowling, but he's narrowed that gap further. And interestingly, in the first half, all Stephen Chester wanted the Craobh Chiarain goalkeeper was to take quick puck-outs, keep the play going. But he's been very measured and taking his time at the start of this second half. Again, Craobh Chiarain playing into that breeze. And he did well that time to find Paul Kelly. Paul Kelly puts that one in inside towards James Finn. But that was very well read by the Lucan full back line. Crummy falls. He's still on the ground on his knees. And in the end, Crummy is penalised there. Not really sure what more Chris Crummy could have done there. Tony Lamb coming over to talk to one of his officials. And Chris Crummy is still down, still injured. And he doesn't look comfortable at all. Again, in that first half, Chris Crummy was down for quite a while. And it was that right shoulder that was affecting him, and it looks like it's the right shoulder again. And he's been crucial to everything that Lucan Sarsfields have done well today. 2-1 in that first half. 1-1 from play, a goal from a penalty. And again, it's still that right arm, that right shoulder that's impacting on him. You can see he doesn't want to go off, he doesn't want to give in to that injury, but he doesn't look happy at all. So we're now waiting on Cian Derwin. That's his own 65. Derwin lifts it, strikes it, and he's hit that beautifully. Has Cian Derwin. 3 points in the first half, make it 4 now. All from place balls, but he's been so accurate for Craobh Chiarain this afternoon. First score of the second half after 36 minutes here in Parnell Park. Here we go now with Crummy. Crummy fires that one across, but Flannery just fails to control it. Chester, the Craobh Chiarain goalkeeper, does so well then to dispossess Flannery, but he still has this opportunity if he spots McCaffrey, which he does. John McCaffrey, and that's gone over the bar. Much better stuff from Lucan Sarsfields, from Sean McCaffrey's team in this second half. And John McCaffrey there with his first score of the afternoon. 37 minutes gone in the second half. 4 points Lucan Sarsfields have got this second half. 2-3 in the first half. Much better, closer, tighter game in the last 7 minutes of the second half. Lucan playing much better. Foul on McCrabb, but play on, says the ref. Little break here towards Paul Kelly. Paul Kelly turns back into traffic. And in the end, in front of the Craobh Chiarain dugout, the whistle is blown and it will be a free to Lucan Sarsfields. Calm things down and get on with it, says Tony Lamb, the referee. And his linesman helping him out on the far side as well. Inside on the edge of the Craobh Chiarain square is Paul Crummy and Chris Crummy. And that one is fired in, and it's fired wide. That's 8 wides Well, you can talk all you want about maybe the poor start that Lucan had in the first half, and maybe that just things didn't click for them in that first half, but they've had opportunities. They've had 8 wides in this game, and really maybe if they'd taken a few more of those chances, well, they'd be a lot closer to Craobh Chiarain. As we see here, James Finn leaving the pitch for Craobh Chiarain, and coming on is his place. We'll try to figure out who has come on in his place. I think it's Robert Mahan, actually, number 18. There he is, in the thick of it straight away. Here comes Mahan. Lifts it beautifully with the one hand. Mahan still making his way in on goals. And in the end, it's wide. And again, to be fair to Tony Lamb, he's tried to let the play continue whenever he can. And I think in the end that's gone for a 65. But straight away, Robert Mahan in the thick of it with an effort as he bore down on goal. And then the Lucan Sarsfields full back line doing